You're welcome back to the Team PMB versus Team Atiku debate. Here is the youth debate brought to you by Robin Minds. And it's time for our next set of speakers. And calling up first for Team PMB, sorry, is Ibilola Estienne. Your hands together for her. And for Team Atiku Ndikato. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Well, in the initial panel, Team Atiku went first, so Team PMB will go first this time. And I want to go straight into security. And it was one of the biggest promises that President Muhammadu Buhari made while campaigning in 2014 and 2015. By most accounts, security can be said to have even spread wider than it was in the Northeast in 2015. We now have it in the middle belt with the herdsmen issue. There's a lot happening, and security is still a major issue. Would you call it a success?
Okay, thank you, Ebuka. Thank you for inviting us to this. Let me start by saying that in 2015, there were 17 local governments firmly under the control of Boko Haram. I mean, they hoisted their flag and said this was their territory. But President Muhammadu Buhari came in and revitalized the military, and they were able to take back that territory and got back our territorial integrity. And of course, you know, Nigeria. And then, we can't forget that there were repeated bombings in Gombe, Borno, and they even went as far as the Federal Capital Territory, and had the guts to even bomb the United Nations building, Nyanya. We can't forget those days, This was Boko Haram. But of course, he came, did something about it, such that even the threat of Boko Haram is now limited to one senatorial district, if any, in Borno State. Now, on the issue of the farmer herdsmen clashes, there is nothing that I can say, or anybody standing here will say, to trivialize the loss of any Nigerian. It's just, it's just that. But I will say that this administration is the first that has holistically taken a fundamental look, especially with having consultations with those communities, about finding a long-lasting solution to the farmer-herder clashes, which, by the way, if we're being honest, predates Nigeria. The farmer-herder clashes have been here. It's not a chaotic situation that was started by the Buhari administration, but it's something that we acknowledge is here, and it's something that we're trying to find a fundamental, lasting solution to. But again, we cannot trivialize the loss of any Nigerian life. Yes, I'm going to say that about that.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for not using up your time. Dee, I don't know if you have a rebuttal to that, if you have anything to say.
I come from Southern Kaduna. Of course, that is in the northwest of Nigeria. But before I even get back to my people, I'm going to talk about your 15 local government talk. Before this government, the INEC chairman actually stated it, that at the last election, we had just 3 local governments that had IDP camps, 3 states that had IDP camps, and then we now have 15 going into this election. We are having Boko Haram actually coming in, taking over villages, and actually telling our soldiers, these are soldiers, slaughter them, you people can go. I don't know if that is not occupation to you. We have lost numerous soldiers. It has gotten to the point that soldiers are shooting videos and begging Nigerians, come and save us. We have an interior minister who is busy going around the campaign trail and taking pictures proudly instead of protecting Nigeria. They were in Zamfara today. I don't know what they went there to tell people in Zamfara, but let's come back to the middle belt. The middle belt of this country has gone through a lot, but most especially in this government, there's no worse thing than being killed daily and having the government come up with different excuses and jokes. The president has a lot of that. In place of solutions, he went to Benue State and asked the Benue State governor, how are your herdsmen? And laughed about it, a state that had people dying. We had the governor of Kaduna State telling us that, oh, these people come from across the border, admitting that our borders are porous and saying that he paid them not to retaliate. In your own country, We have them actually trivializing these things, making jokes out of it. When I went to Agatu in 2016, I'd not seen that kind of level of human deprivation. Nothing I took to Agatu could go around these people. They were struggling for it. They did not have food. A woman gave birth in the IDP camp. Her clothes were torn in that IDP camp. That baby's umbilical cord could not be cut. That baby died. I have seen this firsthand. So to have somebody just come up and just talk, with all that laxity about security, it does hurt. It does burn me. My local government is Jamal local government in Kaduna State. Most of the places you hear from Ninte to Godogodo, Gidanwaya are all in my local government, all having these attacks. As we speak, these attacks are still happening. Going to the farm in these places has become suicidal. It means that these places that you say brings most food for the nation, we are having food shortage. You have to point it back to that place. We have children that I call children of crisis. The generation crisis, children who, by the time they grow up, this is all they know. We have children being slaughtered and having excuses being brought up for these things. At some point, you have to stop and ask yourself, do these people really want to profile a solution? You go to Benue State to campaign, and in a long time, that's the first time in a long time you're having a meeting with the elders in Benue State, a state that is constantly under attack. And a lot of these things have been politicized too. I want to talk for Zamfara. One of the things that hurts me a lot about Zamfara is nobody seems to be speaking for Zamfara. Zamfara State has had attacks upon attacks upon attacks. People are leaving that place. We have some of the service chiefs either coming from there or having relations from there. One of them could not even have his daughter married in the state, and he comes from there, had to take the marriage to Kaduna State. So this place is not safe enough for me, but the rest of you can stay in here. There is no excuse this government can proffer and try to bring forward or say, with respect to security, they have failed. And I'm not talking from the point of politics. I'm talking from the point of, I am affected. I am tired of feeding people.
All right, thank you very much. So now I'm going to come to you now to tell me what Atiku's plan is different from what we have presently, and then you'd report. So let's go.
What I like about the Atiku plan is it addresses these things to their root causes. Atiku said himself, the farmer-header clashes, for us, we need to look for new methods for agriculture. There is no reason, apart from the clashes. Our products, our produces from the cows are very poor. You have tasted cow meat in South Africa, it's not the same thing. There's no reason why cows should be trekking up and down. We have to have these people stationed in one place. It is healthier for their animals, it is healthier for the nation. With respect to Boko Haram crisis, our borders are still porous. Our borders are still porous, and I like that this man has worked in customs. He understands this thing. He understands bringing in of weapons into the country illegally. He understands porous borders, and he has said it. He has addressed it. This is something this government does not want to address. It plays around with it, and of course brings in their friends every now and then to come and campaign for them. But that's an issue for another day.
So how does he tackle it, though?
We are going to protect these borders. Our borders need to be protected. Another thing we're looking at is proper identification. Our children at birth, it's very it's not concrete what we are doing to register Nigerians. So even in Lagos here, you will see people who do not come from Lagos. They tell you and there's nothing you can do about it. Those people can naturalize at any point and just go to anywhere and claim they come from there. We have to follow this thing up. We have to have an authentic census in Nigeria. We are not doing that. We have these numbers fabricated. I do not think that Nigerians are nearly 200 million. That is debatable, but I will put it on the table that we need to have an authentic census. With respect to the Middle Belt, we have mentioned this issue with the farmer heads. I also feel that proper diplomacy, and I'm not talking of one where you would side with this side or that side. It's something about Atiku. Atiku is also a Fulani man. He's also a herdsman, but people trust that this man means this because he has changed his own farming methods. He knows. I also like the fact, of course, this is a detribalized Nigeria. I don't want to bring marriage and all that into it, but this is someone you can talk to about practical things. This is how we're going to do it. I want community policing. We're going to restructure the police of Nigeria, restructure all forms of security, because why? I want a policeman that I can recognize. He knows me, he comes from my community, and understand the pain that comes with it. I don't want a policeman that when something is happening in Kaduna and people come and bring report, it is either, oh, if it is a Bello that brought it, he knows how to handle it, or if it's an Emmanuel that brought it, he knows how to handle it. So we want to look at that. When we look at the restructuring of the police, which is of course a big part of his restructuring agenda, we know where we are going with that. Some of these, of course, are major issues we're looking into. I would also like to point out that a lot of these tribes from these places, I call them autochthonous tribes in Nigeria, need to have their voices heard, and that's very important for my candidate. That is why, as we're going forward, he has met with Afenifere, he has met with Middle Belt Forum, he has met with leaders of Arewa leaders. He has met with Pandef. These things bother us. It's not just for me. We have to look at the Niger Delta, places that are not even accessible by road. These people too are getting attacked. We have to look at our police force. He has talked about it. Our security forces have to be one with the people and not act as if the people are also enemies of theirs. And we have to look into it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Bilola, I don't know if anything jumps at you there. You want to rebut?
Yes, I think that it's mischievous for Kendra, if I can call you Kendra, to say that this federal government hasn't done anything. I have attended, for example, a meeting, a consultation, for example, when the governor of Benue State was then a member of APC. The different consultations around this farmer-herder clashes. You know, they've had different consultations at state level, at community level, at different stages, trying to find a fundamental lasting solution to it. There's a policy known as the National Livestock Transformation Plan, which is a consequence of the committee that was set up by the Vice President's office in partnership with 9 state governors, you know, to discuss what the issues are. Because yes, we do not trivialize the loss of any Nigerian person, but we need to go to the root issues, which is, you know, the fight for scarce resources. And this is what has been happening even at the highest of government and even with the state governments and the community level. And then, you know, I think that is also mischievous to say that this government hasn't done anything. There's been sustained peace. They've sustained peace in the Niger Delta. They have facilitated the release of the Dapchi and the Chibok girls. They have reorganized and equipped the Nigerian army. You know, so I mean, it's just mischievous to say that security is bad or security is worse. It's not true. It's
but it is bad, though. But let's be clear.
I'm saying that yes, there is an issue, but yes, it's not an issue that it's an issue that predates now. And yes, this government is finding lasting solutions because it's not enough to come and play. I just told you, it's the National Livestock Transformation Plan. It's not enough to come and pay lip service to say this. We have said that the ranting methods, the ranting methods or the different ways for doing different things must change, and that's what that livestock transformation plan contains, and it's there. They've spoken about it. The Minister of Agriculture has had several meetings about it, shared different things about it, and continuous engagement has been going on at state level and with the communities. All they need to go and do is, even in the Benue that she's mentioning, I've been to Benue. I've been part of the people that have had some of those continuous conversations with those people, the farmers and the herders. So it's not enough to say, oh, nothing is happening. It's not true. It's there. You're refusing to pay attention to these plans. They are there and they are working, and that's why. Well, I mean, to some degree, they're beginning to work. They're beginning to work.
To what degree?
To the degree that we haven't had some of these clashes recently.
We have actually. Where? There have been attacks. In Chikun local government, people were kidnapped on their way to school last week. You have to be very...
but is that a farmer-herder issue?
Yes, Chikun local government is in Kaduna State. It's not a farmer-herder issue. It's
not a farmer-herder issue.
Chikun local government is in Kaduna State.
Do we want to remind ourselves of how kidnapping was before 2015, where it was rife and some people could not even go back home for Christmas? Kidnapping was rife all around Nigeria, but that has stopped.
All right, thank you very much. Let's leave the security issue now, because I think you both made your points, but I want to go to healthcare now.
We still cannot go home for Christmas. Let me just put this out there, because this is personal to me and we can't politicize it.
Bilola, I want to come to you now, and let's talk healthcare, because it's on many indices across the world, it's one of the lowest ranking for this government, and there's no bigger testimony to it than the president himself, who does not receive healthcare in Nigeria. What would be the achievements you can point out with regards to healthcare?
Okay, so there's the National Healthcare Act, right? And it's mandated that 1% of the consolidated revenue funds should be set aside for healthcare. This administration, President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, you know, is the first to comply with that. And that consolidated revenue, for anybody who doesn't understand, means that all of the revenue that the federal government makes from tax, from oil, from whatever, you know, 1% of that is set aside for healthcare. Now, you would ask, well, two of the issues that have regularly beset the health sector is infrastructure and financing. With infrastructure, what they have done is the repair and the construction of primary health centers across Nigeria. And let's not forget that healthcare really is on the concurrent list. So it's something between the state government and the federal government. And then, aside from that, the financing, I mean, I'm not sure, again, except people have chosen not to see, is that they recently launched the cancer center in Louth. Now, what has happened is that they're building cancer centers, dialysis centers, and medical diagnostic centers across Nigeria. Yes, that's what President Muhammadu Buhari's administration said that he has done.
Indeed.
I would look at health. As of now, Nigeria has 40 doctors for every 100,000 people. That's appalling. We also have issues. We also have issues going forward with the fact that basic things this government cannot solve. I always thank God that Ebola did not come during this government. I don't know what would have happened, because we have had cases with Lassa fever and how bad that has gone. We're also looking at the fact that our doctors are leaving this country in huge numbers already, with the doctor with the doctor to patient ratio.
Sorry, can we please keep it down, please?
With the doctor to patient ratio already really low, we cannot afford that. We have the health minister making a lot of those careless statements saying that, you know, not every doctor or not everybody who studied medicine is meant to be a doctor. Some of them can try farming. In Nigeria, that is going through this already. Well, let me just go back to solutions, really. What we want to do is a comprehensive reform of the Federal Ministry of Health and its agencies. We also think that it's important to accelerate Nigeria's transition towards achieving healthcare, universal access to affordable and quality healthcare. One of the things that bothers me with this government is we're talking about, this was something Buhari actually stated and APC stated before they came in, was that, oh, Nigerians, you know, the traveling abroad thing, and we have our president spending 100 days. That for me was a direct, you are on your own. I'm going to go out there and take care of myself. In the time that Buhari got qualitative health care for whatever it was that was wrong with him and he's refused to tell us, my mother, a senior lecturer in the university, died of an asthma attack in the university because they did not have oxygen, amongst other things, and they could not afford doctors, so they were using a copper who did not understand her own situation. These things affect me directly. So for us, we are looking to increase these things. Also the healthcare centers, of course, healthcare centers, that primary healthcare centers that I will see and not, you know, hear about in debates. I do not want radio achievements at the end of the day. We need to work with the private sector. We need to work with the private sector to ensure that, look, we have this. Of course, you've heard of Atiku's the joint deal he has for the hospital in Nigeria. A lot of people are saying, oh, that is elitist.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think the economy is almost the big elephant in the room besides security, because you can't run a country without any economy. And this government famously or infamously went through 2 years of recession. And I don't know, what is the plan going forward in 4 years, Team PMB?
Okay, well, is it okay if I discuss what the economy has been
You
like?
have 2 minutes. Whatever you want to do with it is fine.
So this administration, President Muhammadu Buhari, inherited an economy that was not projected for growth. All right, and and he had a plan. What was the plan? The plan was the economic recovery growth plan, and in the plan was 1, we diversify the economy; 2, human capital development; 3, fiscal discipline; and then and fiscal discipline. So 1, in diversifying the economy, which we're seeing in agriculture and solid minerals sector, our food import bill is down by $21 billion. Our human capital development, my favorite, which is because it's about people, which is the social investment programs and the focus on MSMEs. Now, the social investment programs, we'll talk about the growth, the government enterprise and empowerment program, which seeks to give interest-free loans to the informal sector, a sector that's been largely ignored by preceding administrations. And we have Empower, which has recruited 500,000 people through technology, the most transparent ever recruitment in the history of this country. We have the National Homegrown School Feeding Program, which is feeding 9.3 million pupils across Nigeria. I recently met a woman who was very excited about the fact that she eventually had a bank account because she's a cook on the National Homegrown School Feeding Program. And, financial inclusion for women. The farmers now know that they have steady people to buy their farm produce. And then we have the conditional cash transfer. A story is told of a woman who at the point where she was supposed to collect the money, went to the Ghana Must Go to collect 5,000 naira because she had never seen 5,000 naira before in Nigeria. Yes. And the focus on MSMEs, bringing government closer to the MSMEs. We've had MSME clinics in almost over 25 states. And this is when the government takes regulatory agencies, Bank of Industry, Standard Organization of Nigeria, takes them and meets the people and says, oh, you want to register your company here.
Thank you very much, Ibilola. I mean, you still didn't tell us what the plan for the next 4 years is, Bosundy, please.
Okay, I will.
Okay, so for us, it's very telling that we're talking about an election. Money has voted already, and money has left Nigeria. What we are trying to do going forward is we want to focus on attracting FDI. You know, a lot of companies, I think I was talking with the Eurasia group recently, and many of them are concerned with the outcome of the elections. It means that, look, if this goes a certain way and they're not sure, many of these companies will not come in to invest. And we're having problems with that. We're having problems. There are businessmen seated here. They know how difficult it is to get foreign investment. Anything you want to do, you get to a certain point and they realize, no, they cannot do this, and they back out. What happens is there's a trickle-down effect. When we're talking about jobs, this is how we are talking about jobs. Because I do not like an economy that is based on handouts. I will not stand for socialism at any point. Nigeria must be competitive in its nature. That is who we are. And that is how we progress, and that is how we become the giant of Africa. So going forward, what are we saying? We want to bring FDI back. We want this economy to be favorable enough to attract FDI. And when we do that, what happens? Businessmen can have their companies back up. People can have jobs. And our focus, again, is jobs, jobs, jobs. I do not want a situation where my child will go to school and come out and be proud to be collecting 25,000 naira every month. That is not it for me. I am very competitive. I respect my children, and they are very competitive. And I expect that when they come out, this is what they want from their own Nigeria. We also want to uplift the non-oil sector. But you see, when we talk about these things and we go back and talk about agriculture, again, it brings Nigeria to a certain level, the way this government mentions agriculture. It's the agriculture of the Juan Cutlass. And that's not it. My people have gone beyond that. They're looking for what is next. You know, the best ginger in the world is grown where I come from. And, you know, people even call ginger bankalat where I come from. But we no longer want to farm ginger with Juan Cutlass. We want to go to mechanized farming. We want a government that has a plan. And this is where Atiku is looking at it. Look, this farming is great for us, but we don't want it at this point where you are giving farmers little things to go and come. And when you people talk about these programs again, you know, that first one you mentioned, I have a friend, Victoria Iwara, I will speak for you on this stage. They called them, they sat them down, did all of the paparazzi things, took pictures and did all the trainings. Victoria has not seen her money yet.
Thank you very much. I want to hear your story, but unfortunately we're out of time. Yeah.
The first one you mentioned, have you forgotten it? You mentioned it.
Which one?
The first one you mentioned.
No, if you know this, Victoria, which one?
It's GEP or something. Ilemona, please.
The growth?
Ilemona, call it. No, it cannot be a lie.
Okay.
Ibilola, I want to come to you now, because all of these programs are, for a lot of Nigerians, it's confusing. There's N-Power, there's trader money, there's all of these things. And what are these things doing for the economy is what Nigerians want to know.
Yes.
What is it doing for the economy?
For the economy. Okay, so we inherited an economy that in reality people were poor, right? So what do you do? What do you do? You say economy, or you want people to be competitive. If this administration had not plugged the leaks, and there was no fiscal discipline, how would they have had money for infrastructure or even for the social investment programs that, okay, so now let me give you an example. So in Abeokuta North, where I come from, right, there's because they're beneficiaries of these social investment programs in all local governments, right? For example, Empower is in all the 774 local governments across Nigeria. Every month, there's an amount that goes into that economy in Abeokuta North that stimulates that economy. Because guess what? They didn't have jobs. They were not able to feed their children. They were not able to send their children to school. That's what that does, because it is not a matter of how much.
Thank you very much. Okay. Now, the Atiku campaign and his entire team have been sort of accused of being sort of anti-poor. There's this belief that it's all about the middle class and the rich. And schemes like this, what happens to them if you come into power? Are there things that you're interested in, sort of welfare for poor people?
Again, I think that schemes we intend to push are schemes that if you look at it the next year, you can say this got this person out of poverty. We want financial mobility. So I don't want to say that I was giving the person 25,000 this year. Tomorrow I'm still doing that. I want that person out of it. We are not anti-poor, but we are pro-financial mobility, because I do not think that Nigerians should be kept at a certain point. Neither does my presidential candidate feel that Nigerians should be kept at a certain point and being given handouts. Everything the APC suggests as what do they call it? responsibility or whatever it is, keeps telling us to cut down our lives. Yesterday, somebody did something ridiculous saying that we eat too much rice. First, they said we travel too much. Another time, the president's aide said that we eat seedless grapes. Yesterday, it was rice. And I remember where I'm coming from. I'm coming from parents who actually had jobs that, from 99 to now grew from poverty jobs to middle-class jobs. And at that time, rice was for Sunday. And so I'm traumatized. Rice was for Sunday, Fanta was for Sunday, or for parties. And ABC is really telling us, no, eating this thing makes you this way. Doing this makes you this way, and we can't do that.
Thank you very much indeed. We need to take a break now, and when we come back, we'll continue with our debate. Please don't go away.